Beautiful. Welcome everybody to the Resilient Minds podcast. Today, I have a very special guest. He's known as the Millennial Mentor. He's a thought leader, serial entrepreneur, angel investor, and philanthropist. His purpose? Simple. To inspire others so millennials can leverage their passions to create successful lifestyles that they absolutely dream of. He was the co-founder of Elite Daily, a news site targeted towards millennials, which sold to Daily Mail in 2015 for $50 million. Today, he's the CEO of Leaders Create Leaders, a great friend, a mentor, a teacher to me. Please help me welcome Mr. Gerard Adams. Welcome, my brother.
So cool to be here, man. Resilient Minds. What's up, tribe? Good to connect with all of you. And I'm just excited to connect with you, brother, and share with you and co-create with you. So thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, man. Like I said, just before we hit record, I'm just super grateful for your time. And I just want to really acknowledge, that, I quite definitely would probably not be where I am today with a lot of, your passion and purpose behind this mission that you've implemented, right? And I can identify so many different mentors that I've had, and there's a couple on my hand that really, really resonate, and you're one of the many. You're one of the five, so that have been really, really instrumental in my growth. So it's been very, very humbling, and I'm just grateful. So, bro, how are things? What's life about? How's things going? I know you're in Sedona right now. I know you're enjoying a little bit of beautiful weather, connecting. But I want to take it back. Because, everybody that sees G, they see G doing amazing things, but I want to take it back to the beginning a little bit, and going back to, I always share with everybody that's listening with the X factor and how our experience kind of brings our whole why and our purpose. And I just would love for the people that, maybe are listening for the first time to the podcast, or are listening to first time to you, to know a little bit about what's your experience been like growing up? What's it been like, going through and having that resilient mindset through continuous and never-ending improvement?
Wow. Well, first and foremost, I love the name of the podcast, The Resilient Minds. My father, was interviewed on a podcast by a company that Gary Vaynerchuk opens called 137 Media. It was the first time my dad ever got interviewed. And they had asked him, so if you could describe your son in one word, how would you describe him? And my father used the word resilient.
Wow.
And, it was so dope to kind of hear that, because I didn't know what my father would say. I was such a rebel, such a misfit, troublemaker growing up, as most of us visionaries and entrepreneurs tend to be. I wasn't good enough growing up, because now I look at misfits and rebels and, these people that are the ones that don't follow the status quo. They're the ones that break barriers. They innovate. These are what I call leaders, right? These are the leaders of the new generation, of this new world, are those that are not fitting into that box. But growing up for me, it's if you didn't get the good grades, if you didn't, go and get that college degree, you were pretty much aimed to becoming a failure. And for me, I wasn't a good student. I loved sports, but I was second string, third string. And then I got caught up into, there's different struggles throughout life that you don't realize actually shape who you become. And one of the first big struggles that happened in my life, in my leader story, was when my grandmother, her name was Vera, she had these octagon glasses, curly white hair. She would wear floral shirts and pastel colored pants, a pastel baby blue. And she used to make this unbelievable escarole bean soup. And when I would walk home from school, you would smell it while I was walking down the block. In fact, I would just run home and couldn't wait to see my grandmother. And my grandma Vera used to just pour into me. She was the one person that really saw me and instilled belief in me. She would say to me, Gerard, they don't understand you. but you're going to be great one day. And I believed her. And then one day when I was like 13 years old, I came home and I found out that my grandmother passed away and that she had been sick with cancer and I had never known. And when my grandmother passed away, a piece of me died. And, you know, my grades got even worse. And all of a sudden I started getting into trouble. I started getting jumped. I started getting into fights. And I started messing around with smoking pot, drinking alcohol at like a really young age. By like 15, I was drinking alcohol nonstop. I was smoking weed. And next thing you know, I'm getting jumped in and I got pulled into a gang initially because I wanted to have people to protect me and be a part of something. And next thing you know, I'm hustling. I'm selling drugs. I'm, you know, getting into fights. I'm seeing people get stabbed. I'm going to a place called like Hudson Point, New York, where we would, you know, street racing and just, it was terrible. Like it was crazy, but I didn't know, you know, any better. I just, you know, I grew up near a place called Newark, New Jersey, where there is just like no rules. It's a lot of crime, a lot of poverty. And my life was really going down the wrong path. And there was just a very important moment in my life where I had a choice. I got a second chance. I got pulled over. You know, I had all the drugs in my car. I thought I was about to go to jail and be that disappointment that my family, you know, and the system said I was going to be, this failure. And lo and behold, somebody was committing grand theft auto in the car in front of me and they let me go. And that day I had a choice. I remember leaving there shaking. Like my grandma Vera, who's my guardian angel, just basically asked my father to give me, ask God to give me a second chance. And I said that day, I was like, you know, I'm going to channel my street smarts, my hustle mentality into business. And that was the day that I completely shifted into like, I got to find a mentor. And I started, you know, figuring out how to find this mentor. And that was the beginning of Gerard Adams at 18 years old, discovering entrepreneurship, discovering how to build businesses online, leveraging the internet. And I started immersing myself through learning from a mentor that taught me everything about understanding the stock market, researching companies, understanding an income statement, balance sheet, how to drive traffic and write emails and build email lists and do online marketing. And that led me to building my first business. It was a marketing agency to help tell stories of online publicly traded companies. And we built that to an 8-figure business. I got it to 10 million in revenue by the time I was 24. That was like one of the greatest journeys of my life. But then I lost it all. And you know, I will kind of go a little fast forward a little bit here, but and if you want to go deeper, we can. But that was a moment.
What was that defining moment, just quickly? Like that, was it that moment in the car? Because I want to take myself back to that, because that really resonated with me, that whole moment of, and probably with so many people where they're like in this experience of life that they're doing something and it was like something woke them up. And I mean, you know, my story, saying it's very similar to yours. We both did like some crazy shit in our lives. So I love the fact that for me, it was a defining moment, but my father asked me a question to go to rehab for my future self. Yeah. What was it for you? Was it that moment literally in the car, or was there like something that just like turned you on?
You know, there's been many. There hasn't been one. I mean, that was one of them. That was life is a compilation of the choices that we make that lead us to our destiny, right? Yeah. And that was one of the choices. That was one of the moments where I had a choice to make. I could continue to keep going down that path and lead to jail, or better yet, dead, or I could choose to make a change, as hard as it is, get uncomfortable, figure out how to learn about business, learn a new skill. And that was one of them, but I've had many similar to you. A big one for me was like, after I sold my second company, my second 8-figure business at 30 years old, Elite Daily, I was depressed because I didn't want to sell the company. I thought my identity was tied to it. I had never built Gerard Adams, the personal brand. I never shared my story before. You know, I was always told not to do that, not to be out there in the spotlight, right? So I was always behind the scenes kind of guy building businesses. And I remember when I sold that company and I was depressed, my dad, similar to what you just said, my dad wrote me a letter, and he sat me in the bathroom, literally in the bathroom, closes the bathroom door, and he's like, read this letter. I opened up the envelope, and that letter read to me how a father and son bond is unbreakable, how much he loves me, but that he can, and that he sees how anything I put my mind to, I've been able to accomplish, but that he sees that I've been unhappy. And he was like, it's time for you to really think about what does life look like for you? And how do you find happiness and joy in what you're doing? Because you're not happy. And he saw that I was like lacking fulfillment. And Tony Robbins, both another mentor of ours, says success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And that was another defining moment in my life of saying to myself, fuck, I got all the money now. I've had the yachts, the cars, the freaking watches, the girls, the you name it. I've got all those. I started living that life, but I was empty. I wasn't aligned to my core values. I wasn't aligned to my purpose. I wasn't aligned to, what the impact that I wanted to create in the world, or, how I wanted to help others succeed. And I was missing something internally. And that's kind of when I went from the materialistic ego, first mountain, I call it, to then shifting to the second mountain of like, now it's about, not just my success, but the success of others. And that was that my father reading me that letter was a defining moment of me making that new decision of how do I now not only define success by my own wealth and financial freedom, but the wealth and financial and spiritual and lifestyle freedom that I can create in others by giving them a path to, activating their purpose in life.
I love it. So it's like this, essentially it's like fulfillment after success, right? It's finding and keeping that and nurturing that and amplifying it continuously. And it really is, like you said, it's that internal look that you're continuously, because we can't find it out there. I used to think that. I used to think it was all out there, but 100%. I love how you're sharing, it's all here. It's all within us. It's all within us. And, Tony, unleash the power within, it's so important for us to continuously give that. So I think I totally, which is probably why you and me, we connected, I guess, in spirit before we've actually, ever really were connected. Do you know what I mean? And which brought us closer together. So yeah, man, I really just, it's beautiful. And I just want to thank you for, what you do and how you serve people and how you continue to show up in this world, bro. It's really, really important.
I want to also say that, obviously we all hear of, I always talk about, activating the leader within. And we're talking about the power within, the leader within, going within. And that's really important. But there really are two rules to leadership. And, it really is first and foremost, right? It's all about you. We talk about at Leaders Create Leaders, right? Improve the leader, improve the business. So on one end, what we're talking about, yes, you got to go within. You got to, figure out what your shadows are, get self-awareness, heal your own shit, and really learn how to step forward that's authentic and into your truth. It is external. And that you have to start paying attention to, realizing that it's bigger than you. And sometimes life will throw things to you. Because remember, we're around for lucky 100 years on a planet that's a galaxy that's run for billions of years on Earth. So you have to sometimes think about, like, what does life need from you right now as well? And sometimes we don't really think about that. Like, I'm reading a book right now called The Road to Character. And a guy named Viktor Frankl, who's a Holocaust survivor, talks about how he never thought that he was going to be at a concentration camp, losing his wife, his kids, laying down railroad tracks and saying to himself every night, how do I have that inner hold of dignity while they're completely torturing me? But that's what life threw at him. Why? Because he said every night, as much as they're beating me, as much as they're trying to knock my character to the point where, I'll break and say something stupid and they'll kill me, I'm going to do everything to inner hold my dignity so that one day I can tell my story, so that one day this story of resilience can empower so many others. Now, that was back then, a Holocaust survivor. I'm now sharing that story to you. Yep. His story will always live on. His legend will always live on. But, sometimes we have these things that life throws at us externally that sometimes they're even hard for us to even understand, like COVID, for instance. But life is doing it for you, and to see how you can step up and be responsible as a leader, to realize it's bigger than you. Play your part in the whole, collective of what's happening, how we're all rising in consciousness together. What's your role in that? And when you start playing where it's like you realize that it's all about you, you have to make those shifts internally, but then it's all not about you. It's about how you play to the bigger picture of adding to the whole and the collective. When you do those two things well, you are truly activating as a conscious leader.
It's almost like you're doing them simultaneously. As you're getting stronger in your internal, you're simultaneously being able to show up because it's not about you. So I think that's a brilliant way where you connect that too with like I remember, I think you and me had this discussion off the air where, you know, we talked about COVID and like, this is the time for us to step up, you know, and bring that energy to the world, especially, but because we've done the work on ourselves. So G, what drives you, bro? What's your why? What's your why?
Yeah. You know, my why, bro, is, you know, first of all, it's living my legacy. You know, a lot of people talk about leaving one. You know, I'm living in it now. You know, it's every single day, you know, elevating as a conscious leader, every single day. And by healing myself, healing the world. And it's really to give people a path to activating their purpose through process so that they can have financial, spiritual, and lifestyle freedom. That's, you know, that's aligned with what their destiny is and what they see as what success is for their own life. Because, you know, my path is different than Eric's path and so on and so forth. Like we all have our own unique path, but there is, you know, there are certain systems and there are certain strategies and there's real wisdom and experience that is out there that can help you to, you know, really step into your legend, that can really step into you being the best leader that you can be. And for me, I just want to be that reflection. I want to be that guide of what's truly possible, of becoming the greatest leader that you can possibly be for your life and for your community, for your business, and ultimately for the collective of the whole humanity.
I love it. And I think that's where I really want to now dive a little bit deeper, because these values show up so profoundly in your work, right? Like what your why shows up so profoundly. And I'll repeat that, in what you do, in your living legacy. So share a little bit about how do they show up in your work? How do they show up in your companies? How do they show up in your living legacy? Because I think that's important for people that are listening right now to know that they don't need to wait for someday. They can start right freaking now. And it's so important for guys like yourself, like anyone else that comes on, to share, I think, that like you nailed it on the head, living their legacy currently, not tomorrow or someday, but embracing the present. And you know, it's a common theme that comes on this podcast is everyone's talking about presence. So I want to turn that over to you and again ask you, how do these powerful values, power virtues, if you want to call them like Tony does, you know, show up in your day-to-day work?
Man, gosh, I mean, I think what you just said, I just want to reiterate is like, first of all, brother, thank you so much for honoring me in the way that you see me living in my why in every single day. And I really appreciate that, because I take pride in the fact that I dedicate my life to service. I think real leadership is about service. And, you know, it really comes down to what you just mentioned, values, right? Like at the end of the day, there's the foundation, you know, and I really believe of that. Like when you have a strong foundation, I look at all of us as like a tree, you know, and that tree has both masculine and feminine. The masculine is the roots, the grounded, the roots, you know, and it's the foundation, meaning that when a hurricane hits, when a storm hits, that tree is going to be grounded. It's going to stay strong, but it's also going to have the feminine. It's going to bear fruit. And it's also going to have branches. And through seasons, some of those branches are going to break. And those are people that come in and out of your life that were meant to show you something, a gift. They're meant to give you some kind of lesson. There's these instances, but at some point they break off. And then there's the leaves and all the things that go through the seasons and how you evolve as a human being. And You know, for me, it's about, you mentioned values. I think that comes down to, if you want to bear the fruit, you got to have a strong foundation. And that means you got to reevaluate, like, what are your values, and are you truly living those values in everything and who you be? Leadership is a lifestyle. It's not a title. It's not a title in a business. It's who you are every single day, to strangers, to the community, to your neighbors, to your family, to your friends. You know, it's how I show up at the store. It's how I show up. People say, when they come and they see me, all over the world, I get stopped. And they always say, yo, G, man, like, you're a real one, man. Like, you're the same person privately as you are publicly, you know, regardless of the verified check. And that's really important. You know, for me, it's living in those values. For me, my first value, bro, is I'm committed to our tribe. I'm committed to our tribe. You know, I'm always thinking about how I can be of service. How can I make sure that I'm truly thinking about the whole, that it's bigger than me, that I'm committed to, you know, serving others around me. That's really, really important to me, is to make sure that I'm always thinking about how I can serve, and how I could, you know, always be there for my people, you know, that God brings to me. You know, it's not going to be everyone, but like, we all have a message. We all have, you know, the struggles that we've gone through in life. And there's someone out there right now, maybe one of you that's listening to this right now, that's going to resonate with my story, and I can guide, and I'm committed to you. I'm committed to being there for you. You know, if you feel called for me to be a mentor in your life, like Eric, you know, and Eric has people that, you know, your story is going to resonate, and you're committed. If you weren't, you wouldn't be doing this podcast right now. We are committed to our tribe. You know, I'm committed to results and being responsible. I'm committed to being trustworthy and being in integrity. You know, always being transparent to my tribe. My appreciation is my attitude. Every day, at least 3 people a day, I appreciate, whether it's my team, someone in my family, a friend. I'm constantly offering appreciation to Pachamama and the land, appreciation to God, appreciation to my ancestors. You know, I'm excellence in my execution, another core value of mine. You know, I'm making sure that, you know, I'm showing up and giving 133% every single time I do something. I finish, see it to the end. So, you know, it's just really making sure that you get clear. I have 5 to 7 core values. Also getting clear on what are your principles in life. You know, for me, how you think is everything. Quality and quantity matters. Everything we do begins with intention. We take ownership of our actions. Speak your mind. We practice integrity daily. Lock into your genius. Leaders embrace change. Teach what you learn. Productivity, self-mastery equals results. We believe in unity, co-elevation. Leaders create leaders. Our legacy starts now. You know, I can go on and on, but I know you know, these are all my principles, and I share all these. I live them. I share them with my clients. I share them with my community. You have clarity in what those values are, what those principles are. And you know, and it's showing up every day, living those. It's not just what it says on a piece of paper. You got to be it
every day, bro. Every day. And you know what really came down? What I saw is that picture. You know, boss sitting in the chair telling people what to do, and then G, leader, behind pushing everybody with them. You know what I mean? So mad respect, bro. And you know, it's definitely, you know, you define that, you know, everything that you mentioned, the principles, the way that you show up in the world, it's super important. So describe the process behind, you know, what Leaders Create Leaders does and how it shows up in the world, because I think that's super important for anybody that's listening to really, you know, really understand a little bit more about it.
Yeah, bro. So for me, it's a full ascension of the leader's journey. It's what I wish. I'm an entrepreneur for 18 years, you know, building multiple 7- and 8-figure businesses, and all the ones that have succeeded, I've lost many times, I've failed many times. But the ones that have really succeeded have always been ideas that I wish existed, that I create honestly for myself. I'm like, this is something that I wish existed in the world, that I see that doesn't necessarily exist. So why not me? Why not create it? Because there's got to be others out there like me. And for a long time, man, I was alone, man. I was lonely being an entrepreneur. I didn't feel like I had a tribe. And my journey, which has been a very spiritual one, you know, I really love the idea that like, I'm still the same OG from Jersey that's like got the hustle mentality, the New York state of mind that's going to hustle and grind, run circles around people and execute. And I'm going to take no shit, take no prisoners, and I'm going to get it fucking done. But I also have this other side of me that's like all heart, that I am just about serving through the lens of love. And, you know, truly just taking time to heal myself and to be patient with myself and to be vulnerable with myself and with others, that I'm human, and, you know, own that path of me continuing to heal shadows. And I feel like this Leaders Create Leaders is a beautiful bridge between business and consciousness. And it's about elevating you on your leader's journey to become the highest version of yourself as a conscious leader. And we do that through taking you through a path that I believe is what I had to learn throughout my entire career. And I'm able to just take it and build you a step-by-step process, which is one, taking you through mastery. We talk about improve the leader, improve the business. So we take you through a step-by-step process on what I wish someone taught me in the beginning of like, how do you create self-mastery? You know, through rituals and modalities and understanding consciousness and understanding and recognizing your patterns, understanding your mindset and your beliefs, understanding energy and how to master energy, masculine, feminine, understanding just the different ways of whether it's chi, prana, chakras. There's so many different ways to master energy as a leader, helping you to understand your routine. I call it the pre-game, game time, post-game, helping you to really understand that, and then really getting clear on your results. And this is all under mastery. Like, what are your priorities? You know, who are the people in your life, and how do you make sure that you know how to lead those people? And then from there, we take people, once we get them to master themselves as a leader and get also clear on and aligning them to their vision and their purpose and how they're showing up, then we take them through the machine. And the machine is something that I'm so proud of, man, because I never was a system thinker. I'm a visionary. I'm a big freaking visionary that has big ideas. I'm a promoter. I can, you know, I have a lot of that side of you know, me that's beneficial to entrepreneurs, and to business. But like I've always struggled with structure and organization and systems, right? And you need that.
I can relate to that. I can relate to that big time.
Yeah, bro.
And so many people, by the way, because we are visionaries, because we are artists, because we are entrepreneurs, how many people are out there that are struggling with that? Is it you? Anybody listening?
Yeah. And what happens is like so many of us, we end up becoming, we end up doing it all. Like we're visionaries, and then we're like, we're working so much in the business. We're operators instead of owners. And we're focused on just income instead of just building an asset. So what we've done is we built something called the machine. And this is all part of this leadership system that my COO, any great CEO or visionary has a great integrator, COO, that's system oriented. I have an amazing one who's been on your podcast, Brian Donovan, and he helped me to build what we call the machine, which helps you to optimize and systemize the 5 divisions of your business: sales, product, marketing, operations, your finance department. So we really give you the systems to fully eliminate, automate, delegate in all of those divisions of business so that you can build a team, and most importantly, build a company, a real company, not one that you're just working for, but that works for you. Because when you're a CEO and a visionary that can pull back away from it, and it still is this machine that's making money while you sleep and is running and is automated and is freaking, you know, growing month over month growth, right? And it's getting people results, and it's the over delivering, you know, that's when you have a really big company. And that's what we help people do. And then through that, we help them create a movement. Once you systemize your business, I have learned over the last 5 years how to truly build a movement around being a thought leader and what that means, and, you know, how to be a super connector, how to build culture, how to build a community within your tribe, and really create this, what I believe is just this like recession proof, because it's word of mouth, and you have this complete movement that becomes bigger than anything you can imagine, through storytelling and leadership and community and culture and connection. So yeah, bro, it's the entire leader's journey.
It's beautiful. And I love how you called it the leader's journey. I think it's that evolution process is so important, especially as we continue to, you know, either we get stuck in the weeds, right, of just doing, and we need to really understand how optimize and create and do all of the things that, you know, keep us organized and focused. You know, it can get overwhelming at times, whether you're starting out or whether you're getting to the next level, you know, 7-8 figures, right? And it's tremendous how much we need that clarity or somebody to hold us accountable to that type of thing. So what I think you're doing, or, you know, and, you know, I'm firsthand, you know, here to, you know, literally say like what you've done for me and what you and Brian have done for me has been tremendous, right? Like, so, you know, because it continues now, I can pay it forward and support the next level of leader, right? So, you know, it's been tremendous. So I just want to really acknowledge that, you know, what you guys have created has been really important for me. And I hold it really, I hold it dear to my heart, because I don't believe that without you guys, you know, I've had, like I said, you know, tons of mentors, but without you guys, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I just
we
want to
love
thank
you,
you.
bro. You bring such powerful energy to our tribe, and I appreciate you so much, just as much, bro, because the thing that I gain so much fulfillment from is not just seeing the success of my clients and seeing them thrive and grow and impact. It's beautiful. It's so dope. But it's the connections between you guys. Like when I can sit back and I'm seeing you guys do podcasts together, you're connecting, lifelong friendships being created, collaborations, partnerships, you guys are sharing knowledge, you're helping each other grow. Like that's what I want to leave behind. You know, I want to know that like it's bigger than me. It's one day when Gerard's no longer here, leaders create leaders is this consistently leaders creating leaders, helping each other. It's this collective that's changing the world, you know, one leader at a time. And it's just so cool to see the tribe growing, bro. And you're one of the founding members, and it's beautiful, bro. Like seeing your evolution on your leader's journey, rising in consciousness, rising in impact, rising in wealth.
Yeah, man. And I'm grateful, because it wouldn't have, I remember how much fear I had.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and there was times where I got to a peak, came down in a big valley, bro, and I was crying. Remember?
Yeah.
I was crying and I was so scared, bro. And you fucking grabbed me, you pulled me out of the hole, and you pulled me up and you said, let's get this, let's get at it, bro. And that was you. That was all you, bro.
Thanks, man.
So thank you.
I'll always be there for you. I'll always be there for the tribe. I'm committed to the tribe. And I appreciate you, bro. We're here, man. We're doing it together. It's so cool. And there's so much more to come.
Appreciate you, bro. So tell us, you've created and you've given such a like profound path to success, right? Why would you say so many people out there would be one reason why people fail?
Because they're good people in a bad system. And that's the thing, you know, so many of us our hearts there were driven. And I've been there because, I've made all the mistakes. It's crazy. Like one of the things with working with me and the team and our team is like, it's not the fact that we can show you what to do. It's literally like, I don't think someone's made more fuck ups than me. I've wasted so much time and money that like, I will tell you what not to do. It's just, I'm helping you to avoid costly mistakes. And for me, I think that's what's really priceless, is because so many people don't, you know, they want to go about it alone, and the mistakes and the, you know, being in a bad system, man, it can end up taking you 3, 4, 5 times as long before you figure it out. And that was me. I tried doing it alone for many, many years. Not only was it just depressing, I wanted to be part of a tribe of like-minded individuals, but you know, it's just like when you're in a good system, when you learn and you're like, oh shit, I didn't even realize that there's like a freaking model for this. And now I can just add my own flavor to it and my own uniqueness to it based on my brand and my team and my, you know, my product. Like it's why make it hard? Why make it complicated? So it's just good people in a bad system.
Yeah, man. Good people in a bad system. It's good. And so because they are good people in a bad system, they also, I would also like to maybe believe is the wrong word, but I really see a lot of decisions being made out of like scarcity or uncertainty, right? And what do you think when people are making decisions out of scarcity or uncertainty?
Wow.
What would you suggest they make? How can they maybe what would be your suggestion for a reprogram there, or
Yeah.
another way of perspective of looking at it?
I love it, bro. Really great question. This is probably one of the biggest things that we work on in the very beginning. It's because like you can have all the ambition and resilience in the world. I have it, you know, like I'm telling you, but the universe will not make it flow. It just won't bring you the right people. And it just, in many of you may be in this position now, it's like, there's just a bottleneck. It's like, oh, it's like, you're doing all the things, you're resilient, you keep fighting, you're fighting the good fight, but just something's not clicking. It's not flowing. And the reason being is because it really a lot of times comes down to your mindset. And I see so many leaders that are still stuck in a scarcity mindset. So the first thing to do is to just really acknowledge that you have a scarcity mindset, like that you may need to rebuild your relationship with money. I had to, even after I sold my company, I was like, damn, I don't even think I'm worth, like maybe it was luck. I didn't even want to touch it. I put it in a trust. I had to really rebuild my relationship with money. Once you realize and it can acknowledge like, all right, I may have some issues with certain beliefs, whether it's abundance, whether it's money, whether it's love, whether it's marriage, whether it's relationships, whether it's sex, whatever those things are, you got to acknowledge what those are that have been patterns in your life. And then you need to really create 3 columns. You know, really, what are those beliefs that you want to reevaluate? Write those down. Let's say money is one of them. And then you want to say to yourself, all right, what is my belief of money? Really? Maybe it's hard to come by. It's hard to get. Where did you get that belief? For me, I grew up with parents that didn't have money. They were lower middle class, hardworking. My mom worked 7 days a week at a supermarket. My lineage, it goes back, just so you know, your relationship with money may go back to lineage, meaning not only do you get your mindset from your parents, which is where it comes from most of the time, but it's before that, my grandparents were farmers in Ecuador. Before that, in my past life, this is for me doing spiritual work, I was a slave. Why do you think I'm so passionate about being a leader in this lifetime? So there's things that run so deep in you in the subconscious that you may not even recognize why you have those beliefs or patterns. So you got to really acknowledge, where does it come from? Maybe it comes from your parents. Maybe it came from a movie or something that you saw in the movies, or maybe it's, you know, whatever. Maybe it came from you making something that happened to you when you were a child. A lot of times it comes from childhood trauma too. Then when you can acknowledge where it came from, now you can shift. What is the new belief that I want to have? That money is abundant, that it was a birthright, that there is more to go around for everyone. And one of the things that I've inherited is what's called a mudita mindset. Mudita, M-U-D-I-T-A. It's a Sanskrit word that means to celebrate with joy the success of others without envy. This is huge, because when you start to have an abundant mindset, how many people do you know that entrepreneurs that like deep down, they're like, yo, good shit, man. Good. Behind the scenes, you know, they're jealous. You know that they're envious. You know that they're like, fuck that. I got to compete. What is he doing? I got to try to do it better. They're competitors. When you let go of that mindset and you realize the only competition is you, and that you actually, like me, I have it on my bracelet, Mudita. I fucking care more about Eric's success than he cares about his own success. I want Eric and my tribe to succeed more than me. I look at my success based on how many fucking millionaires and people that I can create real freedom in more than myself. I want them all to become more successful than me. I celebrate my peers, even the people that aren't my clients, that are just my peers. You know, I want to see Jay Shetty. I want to see Lewis Howes. I want to see Gary Vee. I want to see, you know, Eric Thomas. I want to see Mel Robbins and Susie Batiste and all the dope conscious leaders that I've collaborated with on my show. I want them all to win, because we're all these Avengers that playing our part on this planet to make the world a better place while we're here. So why not celebrate the success of others and reckon when you do that, you're now calling that in for you. You're now that energy that you put out in the world, guess what? You already know that shit's coming right back to you. So it's really important to acknowledge, identify, and then reposition what that belief needs to become now. And then you need to then meet the energy of it by having a mudita mindset, meet that vibration of being abundant. And if you start doing that, and there's ways to do it too with, like, for instance, one tactic I'll give you guys that's more of a conscious tactic that I do. I want you just to write this down. I want you to think of 3 words. Now that we've talked about those beliefs, I want you to think of 3 values, adjectives, or traits that you want to call in. For me, let's say one that I worked on recently were courage, boundaries, and discipline. Courage, boundaries, and discipline. I learned this from one of my clients who ended up becoming a spiritual coach of mine. So I'm going to give you guys what I want you to say for 21 days, every day, for 33 times, every day. I want you to bring it into the body by doing this. And I want you to say, body, allow me to experience all of, I'm going to say my 3 words, whatever your words are, courage, boundaries, and discipline that I am, through and into all of the courage, boundaries, and discipline that exists.
Oh, wow.
Body, allow me to experience all of the courage, boundaries, and discipline that I am, through and into all of the courage, boundaries, and discipline that exists. Every day for 21 days. That's like one core tactic. Another is something called human design. There's a design, there's an archetype. And when you start to evaluate and understand what your archetype is, for me, I'm a promoter. Again, a high charismatic, I'm a freaking big visionary. I can think big, I can motivate people, I can inspire people, I can bring people together. But there's shadows to my archetype. Once I have the self-awareness to know that promoters typically are people pleasers, or they sometimes don't know how to set expectations because they are quick starts. For me, when I get excited about something, sometimes I'm like, boom, I start sharing all these ideas and I'm like, holy shit, I didn't think of the, the 10-10-10 rule, which is, what is this decision? How does this decision not only affect me in 10 minutes, but 10 months and 10 years from now? So it's like, once you know your archetype, you can start to identify what your shadows are. Once you understand your shadows, which are you can start then recognizing the patterns on why you show up the way you do. And then you can slowly start to reprogram those patterns. And when you do the reprogramming of your patterns and your beliefs, right? This is basically your beliefs and your behaviors. Now you've started to become a conscious leader. You are fully aware of, who you are, your thoughts, how to catch those thoughts that are negative, how to shift those consistently on a day-to-day basis, and then how to put your actions towards the new beliefs. And then all of a sudden, when you start doing that and compounding it into those small actions every day, it compounds. And all of a sudden, you're in the right system, man. You're becoming a multimillionaire and you're impacting millions of lives.
Dude, some epic value right there, bro. Like just insight and advice, and I think that's huge. I was literally writing some of that stuff down, like, oh, what do you do? What do you do? So I was taking notes myself as you were saying, man.
Yeah, so why don't you say it, Eric? What are 3 words you want to call in right now? We'll do it together.
So integrity.
I love that.
Courage and love.
All right, dope. So now, go ahead. Let's say it. Body.
Allow me to experience
all of the
integrity, courage, and love
that I am through and into all of the your words.
Oh, integrity, courage, and love
that exists,
right? So then you go around like this.
You added that. I like that. I like that.
Oh, you did? No, I didn't. I love it.
That's your own judge. I like that. There you go. Try to say it on your own real quick. Let me see.
So, body, allow me to bring in all the integrity, courage, and love that exists.
No. Body, allow me to experience all of the integrity, courage, and love that I am through and into all of the
integrity, courage, and love that exists.
Exactly. So now you're creating this
loop
of calling all that in internally and through the universe.
Bro, yeah, I love it. I'm gonna use this. This is epic.
Cool.
I'm gonna record it just because I'm gonna make sure that I watch it back and listen and make sure that I get, or I'll just ask you to send it.
Yeah. One of our, again, this is why our tribe is so dope. Her name's Lauren Courtney Heals. She's an unbelievable spiritual conscious coach that's part of our mastermind, and it's just like, man, we learned so much from our tribe and it's really, really cool. So if you use it, please tag me and Lauren so we can repost you.
I love it. 100%. Cool. So Bro, I know, I want to respect your time. I know we still got a few minutes.
Sure.
But before I ask you my last question, because I think it's really important, please let us know, and I'll share it in the show notes regardless, but any links or anywhere people can look you up, find you, get to know more about anything that you're doing, anything that you're up to, about Leaders Create Leaders, about anything. So if you don't mind, please.
Sure, yeah. So if you guys don't know, I have a YouTube show. It's called Leaders Create Leaders. It's been the passion project that has led now to this unbelievable ecosystem and community of conscious leaders that we're all just elevating both personally as well as from a business perspective. I'm on season 6. So if you haven't watched any of the seasons yet, I've interviewed some of the top influential leaders in the world currently right now that are modern day leaders. So go check out those interviews on YouTube. You can just type in Leaders Create Leaders, or you can go to my YouTube channel, which is Gerard Adams TV. Season 6 is about to drop. So by the time you hear this, the pilot will be out, and we have some new powerful episodes with some of the most fucking epic leaders. I mean, Vishen, the founder of Mind Valley, and all of these episodes are documentary style. I go and I visit them and I go into their life and I give like a whole MTV Cribs style look at how they do what they do. So we got Billie Jean Marketing, Vishen. We're going to have Garrett J. White of Warrior, really cool people, Elena Cardone. So definitely go and check out YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you can. Leaders Create Leaders is the podcast that I have where I do live streams every day and repurpose them to my podcast as well. So check that out. And if you're interested in the collective, then, you can apply. Just go to leaderscreateleaders.com or shoot me an email at vip@leaderscreateleaders.com.
Beautiful, bro. I love it. So yeah, I'll make sure I have all of those links in the show notes for anybody that wants to make sure that they have a click and take a peek. So last question, bro. So I asked everybody this last question because I think it's really profound. If you had 3 days left to live, what would you do?
I would go and spend the time with my mom and dad and my sister, my nieces and nephews, just be present with them. Probably just cook and eat and picnic and have fun, share stories. I would also make a baby with my girlfriend pretty quickly. And I would create a video to leave behind to the world that I would ask for a writer to turn into a book for me.
Amazing, dude. Brother, it's been an honor and a pleasure, and I really appreciate you and everything that you're doing. Do you have any last words you want to share with the audience, with anybody?
I would just say, right now is one of the most opportune times in human history coming out of COVID. I want to first acknowledge that this is very real. So if your family's been affected, I will say a prayer tonight for you. I say prayer every day, praying for those that are in need, not just from COVID, but just, asking God to always be there for those that right now are going through tough times or health issues or, that need the love and hope and support and his strength. So I'll pray for you. But if you are healthy right now, this is your time to step up. Every single one. It's no longer a question of, are you a leader? Like there's leaders and non-leaders. Like, no, you were born a leader. God has given you the abundance and birthright to lead, giving you the ability to lead. It is a skill that you can build on, but now's the time to slow down, take away all those distractions, stop scrolling, stop paying attention to what everyone else is doing, and really get clear and evaluate what are your values? What are you passionate about? What do you want to solve in the world? What is a problem you're passionate about solving? What do you want to create? And it may be tough, but trust me, we all started at nothing. I've struggled so many times in my life. I've been at rock bottom moments, but I picked myself back up. I was resilient and I got clear on what I wanted to create. And I did it and I worked towards it. And I surrounded myself with the right people that lifted me up, like Eric. So go and reevaluate who is your circle of influence and, what is your mindset and how do I need to change my beliefs and invest in yourself, bet on yourself and be the leader. That's what I would say to you.
Brother, appreciate you again, man. Great words to live by and great final statement. We'll leave it at that, bro. Much love to you. Blessings. We'll talk soon.
Later.